understand,
devolve
Mr.
the
Bwalya.
allocation and utilization and how resources are managed and accounted for to where our people
Yeah,
are.
I know that we'll talk about the CDF and decentralization a little later on the show, but I have to get into these other, issues that are, on the table as well. The head of state was recently in Cape Town, where he engaged with key players in the mining sector and other business houses, with the view of attracting more investments. But before we go to the mining indaba, the debate about Africom has continued with little or no explanation from the government on the many concerns being raised by stakeholders. Why hasn't government published the agreement signed with the US to allow the office to be set up on Zambian soil?
And this is why I said, Pizzi, that the president wants people's servants to be available, engaged like this, because we need to bridge the gap of misinformation and propaganda. Because this is what opponents of the president and opponents of the government, opponents of the people are thriving on, concocting things that don't exist, hoping that people will feed on that and perhaps rise against the government. Let me make it very clear. And there's actually a letter that was sent to the president by Madam Chalakateka, president of the New Heritage Party, I think, raising the same question. Pizzi, the structure, the complexion and the context of the risks that not only Zambia but the region, the continent and the global community faces has evolved over time. The complexion of the security risks which Zambia faced in 1964, in 1991, in 2001, in 2011 is not the same as it is now. Did you hear of fanatical groupings fighting a legitimate government in the Cabo Delgado region of northern Mozambique in 1964? You didn't hear any of that. When we were in opposition, terrorism was funded from this country. Money was sent from this country to fan flames of terror in other countries. It was in the FIC report. I came here, I went onto several platforms reminding and telling the Zambian people we had individuals here who were sending money to fan the flames of terrorism in other countries. The complexion of our security risks today have evolved. The president has a duty and a responsibility to keep you, me, and the rest of the Zambian people safe. He has a duty and a responsibility to protect the integrity of the business and investment environment. Where security is an issue, you will not grow your economy. Forget it. Where security is an issue, you will not create those jobs. Forget it. This is why security is a matter of foremost priority. And the president will use every platform and collaboration to keep you busy, to keep me safe, to keep this country safe. I have to indicate here, the president, the new administration, is absolutely committed to the sovereignty of this country as an independent state. The president, the new administration, is absolutely committed to the territorial integrity of our neighbors. But matters of a security nature intended to keep Zambians safe, intended to protect the quality of the business and investment environment, because we are saying we need to rebuild the economy, we need to maintain the integrity of the business and investment environment. We cannot afford to have unintended security threats either emerging on our soil or being transplanted onto our soil from other regions. We cannot afford that.
I'll throw in what some quarters of society, have felt, that the decision to allow Africom to set up in Zambia was a betrayal to the nation in the absence of consultations, especially that successive governments rejected maneuvers by the US to bring this office to Zambia. How would you react to that?
Again, Pizzi. First of all, the propagators of propaganda they were saying that there was a US military base that was being set up here. There was no military US base that was being set up here. The Minister for Defense made it very clear. The President has made it very clear. What you and I and the Zambian people should judge the President and the new administration on, number one, it is his ability to keep you safe and keep you alive. Keep you safe from all security threats. You should also judge him on the basis of how the actions that he's taking will protect the integrity of the investment environment. Right now, Zambia is a hot cake for investment, PZ, both local and foreign, because of the security complexion of our country. We cannot afford to jeopardize that. We cannot afford. Investors are looking to take their money in a place where they will be absolutely safe. Can you imagine you're an investor, you take money, billions of dollars into the Cabo Delgado, then all of a sudden there are terrorists there. Would you want to go there again? You take money into a jurisdiction, all of a sudden there are violent groupings that are emerging and they're disrupting your business activities. Would you take your money there?
I think that's where the concerns are from most stakeholders.
No,
to say,
that should be
with this office opening up in this region, because clearly Africom, just basic understanding of it, and on their website, their description is that they protect American interests. How then do we as Zambians benefit from American interests with them being here? Point number two, you talked about them not creating a base. Well, similar story. They say you can't live long enough to make the same mistakes yourself. Ghana started out like that. They said they didn't have any plans to create a base. But later on, after the MOU was published and after the citizens were concerned with the presence of American troops in Ghana, when they published that MOU that they had, found out that their government had betrayed them in a way that they had allowed the US to have access to their airports and have these bases. Are you going to publish that MOU for the Zambian people to read it and understand what the MOU says, the agreement that we've made as Zambia with Africom and the US?
What Zambians want to know, what you want to know, what I need to know, is that I am safe in my own country. What investors need to know is that their investments will be safe in this country, whether you are a local or whether you are a foreign investor. That is what they care about. You can publish all manner of agreements. If they don't succeed in protecting you, safeguarding your life, safeguarding your investment interests, it is all futile. And this is what Zambians need to know. The president cares for you. He cares about you. We understand that the complexion, I'm going to repeat this, the complexion of the security risks that we face as a country, as a region, as a continent, as a global community, has rapidly evolved. It will keep on evolving. So those propagators of propaganda are saying, no, 50 years ago we did not collaborate, 10 years ago we did not collaborate. We need to open up our minds. The future that we are faced with is an aggressive future. Whether it's in terms of security threats, whether it's in terms of investment and trade, it's an aggressive future. We need to position ourselves the right way. Zambia cannot and shall not afford any disruptions, at least for the next 20 years, if we want to rebuild this country. We can't take anything for granted. We will not take any chances. Every opportunity that we shall get to protect you, to protect the integrity of the business environment, those hard decisions will be taken, and the Zambian people will judge this president and this administration on the basis of their ability to keep you safe and maintain the integrity of this business environment. We are coming from a background, PZ, where our own people here were murdered through gassing. The people are making noise about Africom. They're not even, they failed to ask questions about gassing. Even today, there's been no justice for Zambians who died at the hands of those who are in the ruling regime then. Zero answers. Absolutely zero answers. So we were dying in our own country. When the former regime could not provide answers, they could not keep us safe, and here we are now making noise about a president who is saying, we are keeping you safe, we are protecting the integrity of a business environment.
I think that's
Your
where
territorial integrity.
Yeah, I think
is
that's where the Zambian people want details. When you say you're keeping us safe, based on what? Because that statement is very vague by just saying we have agreements to advance our military.
So Pizzi,
what are the nitty-gritties of this? Are we going to see more American troops deployed to this country?
No, Pizzi, no.
What is it? And that's what we want to hear from you, Mr. Bwalya.
Look, and that's a fear-mongering that is being peddled by opponents of the president.
It's not fear-mongering, because
fear-mongering.
We've seen a trend where the presence of the Americans are.
No, Pizzi, let's stand down a little bit from that. Okay? There is no military base of a foreign government in Zambia.
Are we going to have more military presence?
So now you are projecting the conversation onto something else. Because now we have said there's no military base.
Yes.
There are no foreign boots on the ground in this country. Now you want to project it.
I just want details.
No.
Mr. Bwalya, just details.
No, so Pizzi.
Because it says military advancements. What does that mean? Do we get more? Do they get more troops in here?
Let us not.
No troops?
No, Pizzi. Let us not speculate. It has been made.
It won't be speculation, sir. That's why I have you here.
It has been made very clear. There is no military base of a foreign government in Zambia. There are no foreign boots, military foreign boots on the ground in this country.
Not even in the MOU. We will not see any of that.
Like, Pizzi, you are speculating.
I am asking you the question so that I get the answers, Mr. Bwalya.
Speculating. What you're asking
It's not speculation. I have you here to give me the answers.
It's as good as saying, give me the MOU. I've told you. The complexion of the risks that we face as a country has evolved. The President, Minister of Defense have to take steps to protect you, to keep the Zambian people safe. We shall not wait. We shall not wait until the kind of disturbance that we're seeing in other regions within our neighboring community spill over into our country before we can begin to act. We're not going to wait. We don't have time for that. Is that the kind of government and leadership that you want that is reactive? You wait until trouble comes to your land. Then you say, let's do something about it. We're not going to wait. So, opponents of the president, opponents of the people, opponents of the new administration, we are not going to wait. The risk has been assessed. We're absolutely confident and comfortable that steps need to be taken to keep this country safe. Steps need to be taken to protect the quality of the investment environment in this country. We are in a hurry to rebuild this country. We cannot afford any disruptions of any sort.
I'll just ask you to move your mic a little bit closer to your mouth so that we...
Is that better?
Push it a little bit up so that
like that. Like that.
Thank you very much.
Right.
So that we hear you clearly. I want to go to come back to the mining indaba. What were the outcomes and what were the take homes for Zambia regarding the mining indaba? You were in Cape Town.
So the president has made it very clear, Pizzi, that we need to not only unlock our mining assets, we need to optimize them. All right? So now that means that we need to unlock and optimize existing mining assets. We need to unlock and optimize mining assets that are yet to be discovered. This is why we're ramping up on exploration activities, as it were. You cannot unlock and optimize what you have not discovered.
Okay.
So we need to do that. But also it's important for us to recognize that insofar as our mining assets are concerned, the president will keep on emphasizing that Zambia and Zambians must be the principal beneficiaries. That's important. Must be the principal beneficiaries. We believe that a well-managed mining sector can be a catalyst, not just for the creation of jobs, but also for the much desired mining-related industrialization. You can catalyze that. And this is why the president and this administration has set a very ambitious target end bar of ramping up mining production per annum to up to 3 million metric tons by the year 2030, right? But in order for us to do that, it means that we need to invest in the quality of the mining business environment. It has to be transparent. It has to be predictable. We have to protect the mining investment rights of investors, whether they are local or whether they they are foreign or international. We have to diversify our commodity space away from the traditional copper, to cobalt, the manganese and other precious metals across the value chain. We have to prop up the participation of Zambians, whether in the supply chain to support the mining sector or whether in the procurement value chain. It's very, very important that we do that. But whilst we're there, the president obviously took the liberty to inform the rest of the world that Zambia is back and Zambia is open for business. We are taking steps to enhance transparency in the mining sector. We are taking steps to rectify and bring into international line and standards matters of mineral royalty, which now has become deductible for corporate taxation. This is the norm internationally. And what this does is that it injects a new lease of confidence because now Zambia is playing by international standards. But what it also does for example, profit-making mines, as it were, it gives them a bit more leverage to spend more money on expansion activities. Again, leading much more to the creation of jobs, job opportunities, and also incomes into every homes. You know how important that is for people who work in the mines. But we're also depoliticizing the mining sector. It is absolutely crucial that we depoliticize this sector. Politics always are a toxin that can disrupt investment activities much more in the mining industry. We want to increase transparency. We want to increase accountability. The reporting of state mining investments through ZCCM-IH is something that we are raising the bar on. There has to be increased transparency on that front. But I think it's also important, PZ, for us to indicate, I think it was only yesterday, the president made an intimation. He has since received the report on the mining audits into how mining licenses were being issued.
I think that was a big issue because
Zambians were being sidelined. They are not playing and participating fully into the sector. Now that audit has been concluded, the report has been handed over to the president. The president has seen it, and I think now the next step is to expedite the process of commencing the reissuance of those licenses, obviously putting Zambians at the heart and center of participating and making sure that the growth that we want to see, the growth that we intend to see, and the growth that we definitely are going to see in and around the mining sector, we have Zambians playing front and center. Okay. And making sure that we are participating.
Based on that, I want to throw in this one. The president's statement in South Africa that any solution to the problems at KCM should include Vedanta because they are a key stakeholder and have sparked debates in Zambia as to whether Vedanta is back to run KCM or not. So what is the president's clear position on this matter? Is Vedanta back or not?
Look, I think the priority right now is to make sure that all the pending legal issues at KCM are sorted out. In the wake of that, that is the only way that we are going to unlock that asset. That is the only way that we are going to optimize it. In the frame of all of that, it is important that nothing is off the table, because what our people want is that mining assets to be unlocked. So they want it to get back to full production. They want jobs. They want better incomes. That is what they are focused on. And that is what the president is focused on. Unlocking the asset, optimizing its potential, deliver those jobs for the miners, allow those mining contractors who are Zambians to participate in the optimization of that asset, and make sure that that asset, as is the case with every other asset, we want to see it contribute optimally to the to the treasury and the coffers of this country, so that we can give ourselves better opportunities to provide healthcare, education, social protection, the things that the Zambian people care about.
So basically, having Vedanta back is on the table as well.
The Zambian people want the asset optimized. They want the asset to be working to full capacity. When you go to the copper belt, that's the question they're asking. They're not asking about Vedanta. They're not asking about any other mining houses. They're asking the question, when will the asset be back up and running? When shall it be optimized? When are the jobs going to be created? When will KCM begin to contribute optimally to the coffers of this country? That is what the Zambian people care about.
That's very strange if you say the people of the Copper Belt are not talking about who is running the mines, because it was the people of the Copper Belt, the trade unions, the mining unions that started with this Vedanta out narrative until the PF reacted to it, because they did not want Vedanta running that mine, that resource. So why haven't you had that conversation with them on how they feel regarding the possibility, like you've put it, it's on the table that Vedanta might actually come back?
So let's be very clear. What's the miners, what's the mining unions care about is that the asset is working, the asset is being optimized, the asset is contributing to delivering jobs on the Copper Belt, the asset is delivering incomes into the homes of our people on the Copper Belt, and that the asset is contributing optimally to the treasury of this country. That is the conversation, Pizzi. We must never depart from that. We must never depart from that. If you today, Pizzi, we said we're going to give KCM to you, they want you to deliver jobs. They want you to pay the miners well. We as a government want you to make good on your taxes and royalties. That is the fundamental area of conversation. This is not about Vedanta. This is about the asset which belongs to the Zambian people. An asset which the Zambian people are saying for many, many years has been underperforming. They want it back up and running to full capacity. The same thing that we have done with Kansanshi. Deal with the underlying issues. Let the mine function optimally. This is how now you are seeing that additional 1.2, 1.3 billion US dollars worth of investments, creating extra jobs, delivering an extra 217 million US dollars projected over a number of years into our national coffers, delivering an added 1 billion US dollars or 2.3% contribution to GDP. That is what the Zambian people care about. And that is the fundamental question, not just around KCM. It's the fundamental question around Mopani. It is the fundamental question that is going and will definitely arise around any other mining greenfields that are going to be discovered as a result of the expanded mining exploration that is taking place. That is what the Zambian people care about.
I want to throw in something else, Mr. Bwalya, here, because we saw a leaked letter that was sent to the president and mining union presidents as well, from Vedanta, on how they are very remorseful and they have now repented and they're going to come back and do things that they were supposed to do in the first place.
I haven't seen that letter.
You have seen it. It's in public domain.
I haven't seen it.
They've promised the same things that you're talking about. Improved conditions of service. They promised to honor, corporate social responsibility. They've promised to sponsor football teams in this country. Things they were supposed to do before.
Right.
Okay? My question to you is, have you had, you as a new Dawn administration, have you had this conversation with Vedanta based on those, confessions or should I say repentance in those, the repentance we saw in the letters? And based on one accusation by former President Edgar Lungu, who made this accusation on the Copper Belt, that there was an agreement between you as a UPND and Vedanta Resources, and they funded your campaign, and based on that fact, you were going to give them back that resource.
So let's be very clear. So number one, I haven't seen that confession letter that you are talking about. I don't even know what
it's
you're
in
talking
public
about.
domain. You've seen it, Mr. Bwalya.
There are a lot of things that are in the public domain that I don't know about. But number two, coming from a group of people, and now they're making the most loud of noises, coming from a group of people who literally gave away that asset for one point, no, it's not even 1.5 billion. They gave it for close to nothing, right? And then in exchange for that, they are asking you and the Zambian people to take on an additional debt of 1.5 billion US dollars. These are the kind of people that you're dealing with. Now they want to taunt the president.
I think that's a different mind you're talking about, Mr. That's Mopani. We're talking about KCM. That's Mopani.
No, it's not.
Mopani is the one that went for $1. Then we had to take on their liabilities. But look, at the end of the day, but we're talking about KCM here and Vedanta.
The point is, the mining assets that are underperforming at the moment, they started underperforming under their watch. They created the mess that we're dealing with now. They are the ones who have put the mining assets in jeopardy to the extent that they can't perform, they can't create jobs, they can't contribute to our national coffers. Now, this president and this administration, Pizzi, has a duty and a responsibility to bring back to life those mining assets. And again, I'm going to emphasize to you, Pizzi, this is not a question of will Vedanta come back or will Vedanta not come back. For all the Zambian people care about, they just want an asset that is creating jobs, an asset that is paying our people well, an asset that is fulfilling its and contributing to its social corporate social responsibility obligations within, the boundaries and precincts where it is functioning, an asset that is contributing optimally to the treasury of this country. That is what the Zambian people are concerned about. That is what the Zambian people want. And again, I'm going to say this, Pizzi. If today we said, let's take you run KCM. If you deliver on your corporate social responsibilities, if you deliver those jobs, you deliver those better, pay packages, you contribute to the national treasury by honoring your tax and royalties obligations, happy days. Who's going to care about that? So that is the line of conversation that we need to be pursuing. And I'm here to confirm and reaffirm that that is the focus of the president. Let us unlock that asset. Let us deal with the underlying issues. Let us prop up production. Let us employ thousands of our people. Let us pay them well. Let us fulfill our corporate social responsibilities in the communities where these assets are functioning. Let us prop up the contribution of these mining assets to the treasury of our country so that we can expand our ability to look after our people, even in the furthest of places away from where the mining activities are taking place.
Okay, I want to open up the phone lines so that the people are part of this conversation as well. But I'm going to ask you one more question before we
another one.
We do that. Just one more question. Just one more question, Mr. Bwalya. The cost of living in Zambia has been skyrocketing now, going beyond the reach of many Zambians, contrary to what you promised as the UPND in opposition.
Yeah.
The situation has been partly blamed on monthly reviews on fuel pump prices. What is the head of state's position on this matter?
So let's be clear. The cost of living in this country for the past 10 years had been rising. We are all witnesses to that. The people who are making the most noise, again, they are shameless. They are unrepentant. These are people who found an economy that was performing at 6%, close to 7%. They destroyed it. They ran it down to zero. Actually, zero is being kind. They ran it down into the doldrums of the negatives. Now, when you run down an economy like that, overburden it with a 23, 24, 25, maybe 30 billion US dollars worth of debt, on top of that, add corruption, you have no chance looking after the poor. You have no chance delivering education. You have no chance delivering healthcare. You have no chance delivering social security and protection and things of that sort. Absolutely no chance. That is where they left us. They left a country with an inflation rate of 23, 24%. These are facts. Today, less than a year into office, in keeping with our commitment to drive down the cost of living, inflation is at 11%. And I'm going to explain this because I know they're going to call and start making noise again. And I'm not talking about the Zambian people. I'm talking about opponents of the president and the Zambian people. They'll be making noise and saying, no, you're saying inflation has gone down, but the prices of goods is still high. Well, what it just means is that the rate at which prices of goods and services are increasing, rather than them increasing at 23%, they're now increasing at a rate of 11%. Much lower. But we're also taking steps to support the most vulnerable. Over 1 million vulnerable people. They are on social cash transfer, and that social cash transfer has also been ramped up. Near enough twice what people used to get paid. That is what people are getting paid now. We're supporting kids in school. We're supporting girls with free sanitary pads. Close to 300,000 families. We recognize that our people are not where they need to be in terms of cost of living and the quality of life. We recognize that. This is why the president and the new administration, in our intimations, we are very ambitious because we believe that that is the bare minimum. We must deliver a cost of living. This is why we're stabilizing the kwacha against the dollar. Zambia is largely an import-dependent country. Everyone knows this. If you have a kwacha that is underperforming, if you have a kwacha that is overly fluctuating and swinging like a pendulum, you have no chance. So what we have done is we have not only improved the performance of the kwacha against the dollar, we are also stabilizing that. Coupled with the lower rate of inflation, even our colleagues at the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, I think they just issued a report.
Yeah, there's a reduction by 85 kwacha.
It's gone down. So someone will say, no, 85 kwacha, what's 85 kwacha? Well, try not to have a 1 kwacha on a public bus. See the kind of drama that you are going to go through by 1 kwacha. But 85 kwacha is still progress. And that signifies that when you have good leadership that is focused on doing the right thing, every ounce of progress made does count. The progress that we have made on the inflation front, the progress that we continue to make on improving the performance of the kwacha and stabilizing it against major convertibles, the kind of new confidence that we're re-injecting into our business environment, encouraging the inflow of investments, all of that is contributing towards not just creating jobs, but putting an income into every home, money into people's pockets. And people now are not just going to be talking about the cost of living. We're also now going to graduate to having a conversation around, are we able to afford these changes in the cost of living? Because that is an important conversation. Because last week, I think I was on some radio station and I was given an example. What good is a bag of mealie meal that costs 1 kwacha, but you, Pizzy, you don't have 1 kwacha? What good is that? So we want to raise the bar and standard in terms of the performance of this economy, job creation, and the level of incomes for the Zambian people to a state where even if and when there is an upset in the cost of living by any margin, you, Pizzy, should still be able to afford a decent meal. You, Pizzy, should still be able to send a child to school. You should still be able to support the next person. That is the kind of just, equitable society that we want to create. Okay. So progress has been made over the past 9-10 months. Is that the only progress we want to be made? Absolutely not. We think that there is more. This is why this president and government's target in terms of inflation by year end is a single-digit inflation figure. And on the basis and balance of the kind of progress and work that we have done over the past 10 months, 10 months into office, Pizzy, 10 months into office, we absolutely have no reason to not believe or doubt that we are going to hit and achieve that single inflation digit by close of year.
Mr. Bwalya, I have 3 follow-up questions to that.
Again.
But because of the listener, I want to allow them to actually call in and just ask you a few questions, but I'll write my questions down and ask them at the end of the show.
Fair enough.
It's 0974-870-877, 0950-955-877, 0967-877-447. Those lines will get you through to the Hot Seat Radio program right here on your hot station, number one for news and entertainment. We're live on Kwitu FM on 93.3 FM here in Lusaka. We're also live in Eastern Province, in Lundazi to be specific, on Kanele FM on 97.7 FM. So give us a call. I will ask you to restrict yourself to asking one question. One question, be brief. Ask one question, then we'll allow Mr. Bwalya here to respond to you. It's 0974-870-877, 0950-955-877. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Pizzi.
Morning to you.
Yeah, this is Super Central, the voice of Chipangari.
That's okay. Sorry, what's the name again?
This is Super Central, the voice of Chipangari, popularly known as Uncle Joe.
Uncle Joe.
Uncle Joe, please go ahead.
Calling you within Lusaka, Zambia. Good morning, Mr. Anthony Warrior.
Uncle Joe, how are you?
I'm great, Mr. Anthony. Well spoken. I'm sure the UPND government is putting everything in order for the sake of every Zambian to enjoy the national cake. Now, there's a problem, Anthony Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
The problem that I'm seeing in the UPND, you know, I really support the UPND. I'm the member for UPND. Now, the problem, us in UPND, we don't want to beat around the bush. We just want to hammer the nail on its head. Don't focus on the PF too much, because when you focus on the PF, you end up losing your appetite of working for the Zambians. So those people, forget about them, forget about what they destroyed. You are there to maintain the economy. You are there to fix it. So concentrate on fixing the economy. Don't focus on these losing and the crybabies of the PF. They will just frustrate your working. Forget about them. If it's to arrest them. If anything has got a question to answer, just arrest them. Don't worry. But Benson and Fito, they just destroyed our nation. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, Uncle Joe. Thank you for your contribution. It's 0974-870-877, 0950-955-877. I think I will time the questions now. I will just give you 60 seconds to answer your question, to ask your question, and then we'll allow Mr. Bwalya to tackle that question. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. This is Brother K, PZ. Good morning, Mr. Bwalya. How are you, sir?
Brilliant. Thank you, Brother K. How are you?
Fine. Thank you. Thank you. Well spoken, big man. That's the voice we need all the time, please.
Brother K,
we need it all the time.
Brother K, I'll give you 60 seconds to get your point across.
Yes, I know that, PZ. PZ. Now, Bwalya, those maliciously propagating lies that the new Dawn government has done nothing in the last 9 months in terms of bettering the lives of people, I think for me, they are still living in denial. Because why? They had this strong belief that President Tshisekedi will never rule this nation. Coupled with the shock they received, 1,250,000 vote difference, I think it has done a lot of damage. Because look, when you do away with fuel subsidy of $67 million per month, you are paying OMS, okay? OMC, something like that, okay? And you take that money to for social needs. What's wrong with that? Okay? Now, look, in keeping up the appearance of PF, Jones artificial window syndrome, they were even failing to pay OMC about $477 million, not kwacha, for the fuel people were enjoying it at filling station from December 2019 to somewhere 2021. What kind of that? And look at the way they're moving goalposts on the University of the FTJ University project. From 2018, it was all quiet and nobody talked about it. Now they started changing goalposts. Excuse, no. Money is still somewhere. It's lying sitting in some bank. Just like a social transfer, we remember?
Brother K,
no,
I've given you enough time.
No,
I've given you enough time.
No, they saw a war, but it's now no longer. It's John Cena. You can't see me.
Brother K, thank you very much for your contribution. I gave you enough time to get your point across. Thank you very much.
He's a very passionate man.
Very passionate. Very passionate man. It's 0974-870-877, 0950-955-877. We'd like to hear from you. Again, I'll re-emphasize, just get your question in. 60 seconds is enough for you to get your point across. All your questions in. Give us a call, 0974-870-877. Good morning.
Susie, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Yeah, you're talking to Anne Mutembo. I'm calling from George Compound. For me,
Mr. Mutembo.
Anthony, I think for me, please, can you just accept that you as a government has failed? Every day you're talking about corruption. What of the corruption that you have heard at State House? Initially, there was those two people whose recording went viral talking about undermining our democracy. What have you done about it? Look at the issue of Kakuo. What have you done about it? Why is the PF only perceived why is the PF only the political party that is being perceived to be corrupt? So what you are saying is, put your house in order, sir. And the one last thing, are you going to apologize for insulting State House to say that you, the person that came from the compound, can't live in House? Are you going to apologize? Thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you very much. That's 3 calls. I'll allow you to respond to that.
Let me begin with Mutembo. He says we should accept that the new administration has failed. Let me remind Mutembo that just a few days ago, the Ministry of Labour, under the leadership of Honourable Minister Brenda Tambatamba, published a NAPSA options paper, where various options have been presented and stakeholders are being engaged over the matter to determine which option is feasible. Insofar as the partial withdrawal of your NAPSA contributions. Now, I want to speak to Mutembo. Now, this is an administration and a president that were very clear about what we thought was a bare minimum for the Zambian people. We believed that you deserved to have partial access to your NAPSA contributions. We are following through with that. Is that a fail? Is that really a fail? For many, many years, it was argued that this was something that could not be done. And this president argued that it was possible because we wanted, when we absolutely needed, to make it possible for a poor teacher, a poor nurse, to be able to tap into their NAPSA contributions and build a business for the future. How many lives have we lost because they have gone to borrow money from loan sharks when their NAPSA contributions are sitting tight in their NAPSA accounts? Is that a fail, Bamutembo? Bamutembo talks about undermining democracy. We all remember when our forefather, KK, God rest his soul, when he died. President HH mourned KK from his living room. Bamutembo, have you forgotten that? Have Zambians forgotten that? Compare and contrast that to how dignified we mourned the loss of RB. How President HH united this country in grief. Old leaders, former leaders, current leaders, everyone was united in grief. We mourned and put to rest RB. Compare and contrast. Comrade Amos Malupenga was launching a book just there at Mulungushi. I think that was Mulungushi, wasn't it? A few days ago.
Yes, it was.
Yes. Leaders from different political parties, they gathered, including those from the ruling party, they gathered there. In the olden days, there could have been bloodshed there. Because any place and any gathering that was perceived to be opposition, they'd clamp down on that. The police could be sent with bullets and tear gas. Cadres would attack, descend upon a place such as that. You didn't see anything of that sort. Today, opposition political parties, they are holding meetings freely, busy, freely. And Mutembo thinks that we're undermining democracy by allowing opposition political parties to conduct their political party activities freely. They go on radio. They come here freely. Some of them even take the liberties of insulting the president. They sell their failed agendas freely. You have never heard, and you are never going to hear, that a radio station, PZ, has been attacked or has been closed down because they are hosting the voice of an opposition political party. How many radio stations were attacked when HH featured on them? How many journalists were injured when they featured HH? How many radio stations were closed down? How many TV stations were closed down for featuring the voices of the opposition, particularly that of HH, now president? How many? So, Bamtembo, we must never forget where we're coming from. We must never forget where we're coming from. We are coming from a broken past, and this president and this administration has taken substantive and very quick steps to remedy and correct that. If sending thousands of kids to school for free is failure, then that is failure that we are quite pleased to embrace.
Okay.
If delivering 25.7 million CDF to every constituency, even in constituencies where we were not elected, if that is failure, then that is failure that we are prepared to embrace. If restoring the balance of the rule of law and order, busy, so that the law can apply equally to everyone, those in the ruling party and those in the opposition. If that is failure we're prepared to embrace. And if fighting corruption and pursuing the criminals who took money from this country and its people, denying thousands of kids an opportunity to go to school, healthcare, social protection, if that is failure that we are prepared to embrace. I agree with Uncle Joe. The focus of this president, and this is why you don't hear him respond to his critics, because his focus is on making good on the promises and the commitments that we made to the Zambian people. There's a lot of things that is written about the president. You're never going to hear him. You're never going to hear me respond to them. The focus is on how do we actualize the commitments that we made to the Zambian people? How do we create jobs? How do we make the partial withdrawal of NAPSA a reality for millions of people who have money in NAPSA contributions? How do we quickly make progress on the issue of loans deductions for graduates? Because this issue has been popping up. And I keep on assuring my colleagues that the president has not forgotten. We know exactly what we committed to. We know. We said we'd look at that issue and look at a different mechanism. Because right now we understand that graduates, I think they are losing anything up to 1,500 kwacha from their pay in loans repayments. We know how painful that is. But this is one of those things that the changes that we envision then, the change that we think needs to be made, could take a bit of time because it is dependent on our ability to quickly rebuild the economy and create excess capacity within the structure of the economy. The president has not forgotten. This is a conversation that even the Minister of Finance is aware of, and I think at some point in the past he made an intimation to the effects that he has not forgotten. Once capacity has been created, this is an issue that will be brought to the table, and it will be duly discussed, and different options will be looked at. So this is a government and the president that is fully focused on making good on the various commitments that we made to the Zambian people. All right.
I'm going to pick up more calls. I think I'll pick up 4 this time so that we end with those, because I've noticed your answers are quite lengthy. So I won't have enough time for as many calls as I want to accommodate today. It's 0974-870-877. Remember, you have 60 seconds to ask your question. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you doing? What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Simfukwe Kennedy. Calling from Kanyam.
Mr. Kennedy Simfukwe, you've got 60 seconds to get your point across.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know what Bwalya is talking about, because people are living in poverty here in Kanyama. So where I'm seated here, I've got about 10 children who are just seated there. I've got nothing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know where they can get a job or where, but I do say in the industrial area.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's unfortunate with what you're talking about. I don't know if this government has made some calls, which goals are the process they promised you. It's not coming to us. These children voted for them. So unfortunately, they can't score their goals. They look for a change at the same they can't see it. Please, sir, Mr. Bwalya, please. Like any question because
your time is up, but Mr. Bwalya was saying you didn't greet him when you were starting your I guess we'll have to address that some other time. It's 0974-870-877, 0950-955-877. Those lines will get you through to the Hot Seat Radio program. We'd like to hear from you this morning. What's your take regarding, what's being discussed? Remember, you've got 60 seconds to ask your question. Good morning. All right. It's 0974-870-877, 0950-955-877. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. What's your name?
I'm Joseph Perry.
Joseph Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Perry, please go ahead.
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Anton.
Very well, Mr. Perry. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Yeah. To start with, I think it's been close to 10 months from the time you came into government. But up to now, it's very unfortunate that you haven't given us, the Zambian people, the clear direction where you are taking us. When you compare with the previous government, like the MMD, when they came into government, their agenda was very clear. With the PFRA, their agenda was very clear. But with you seems to be reactive. It's like you don't know what you're doing. Okay? Then secondly, I want to talk about the low cost of living. Because it was one of the big, thing that made you to be voted into power. You promised the Zambian people of low cost of living. That was cheaper fuel, cheaper meal meal, cheaper sugar, cheaper cooking oil. But out of all the many promises that you gave the Zambian people, I would say maybe 1% is what you have achieved. That is a free education.
All right. I
you
think
promised the Zambian people.
your 60 seconds is up. I'll ask you to end there. So because of time, we have to end there. Thank you very much for your question. It's been duly noted. Thank you very much. I'll squeeze in one call and I'll allow you to react to that and then we'll close the program. It's 0974-870-877, 0974-870-877. Good morning.
Good morning, Matisse. How are you?
Good. How are you doing? What's your name?
Mr. Antonio, how are you?
I am very well, thank you, sir. How are you?
Mr. Chikubabe on the line.
Mr. Chikubabe, please switch off the radio.
Yeah, the radio is off. I don't know.
We're getting feedback. If we're on speaker, please remove us from speaker.
All right, okay. What about here?
Yeah, it's okay.
There's still feedback, Mr. Chikubabe.
Anthony, it's very unfortunate that you have started labeling all those people who are complaining that they are PS. We as Zambian people voted for you. It's not about maybe you come and arrest the patrol plan. That is the job of the S. But the most important thing which we voted for you is about cost of living. Now, what we are hearing from you that now inflation rate has gone down. Me, it is too much troubling from you because what I've seen that the inflation rate is still high, and Antonio Bwalya should not be keeping as that now. Zambian people are mature now. Things have gone up. I don't know where we're getting information that the inflation rate is out. Because as that now, if you can look at things which we were telling us that it's going to be okay, today it's very expensive. Fuel has gone up, the price has gone up, minimum has gone up, salad has gone up, sugar has gone up, everything in the transport sector has gone up. My example,
time yasila zikomo kwambiri. Yeah. Mr. Bwalya, I'll ask you to touch on those quickly because we've completely run out of time now.
Let me begin with Kennedy Simfukwe. I sympathize with him. He talks about the 10 children who are doing nothing. This is precisely why, number one, the president keeps on emphasizing the need for us to grow the economy by leveraging private sector participation. There is no substitute, PZ. And again, so that Zambians don't forget, where we are today, this should have been a $46 billion economy. But because of the bad works that were done, it shrunk to less than half. You can't create jobs for Kennedy Simfukwe's 10 children under circumstances like that. This is why we are working hard, resolve the issue of debt, root out corruption, support the investment environment the right way, using that, new platforms that we have created, the public-private partnership dialogue, so that we can deliver jobs even in communities where Kennedy Simfukwe and the 10 kids are, so that they can access jobs. But this is also why the president was very keen at not only expanding but also devolving the structure of CDF. 25.7 million kwacha delivered into a place like Kanyama. That's what Simfukwe is, isn't it?
Yes.
Peter. 25.7 million delivered into a place like Kanyama. The president has made it very clear. If there's a school in Kanyama that needs to be constructed, bricks must be made in Kanyama. Desks must be made in Kanyama. All the basics that would be required to build a school or a clinic must be done and sourced within Kanyama. Can you imagine the wealth of opportunities that we are going to deliver into each constituency with 25.7 million kwacha consistently delivered to each constituency per year? This is why the president speaks very passionately about what we're doing with CDF and also reconstructing the economy. So I hear you, Kennedy. I sympathize with you, but I'm also here to assure you and give you hope that steps are being taken to make sure that not only the 10 children that you have made reference to, but also several others of their colleagues within Kanyama and beyond, they have access to opportunities. Joseph Piri notes that there is no clear direction. Now, this is a government that had said we needed to deliver free education. We have delivered on that. Isn't that clear enough direction? We said we'd guarantee freedom of speech. We've done that. Isn't that a clear enough direction? We said a lot of things about CDF. We have done that. Is that not a clear enough direction? We said we're going to reunite the country, ending cadreism, expanding social cash transfer protection things. We have done all of those things. Is that not clear enough? This is not a president who wants to be judged on the basis of how large the so-called agenda is on paper. This is a president who wants to be judged on the basis of what he says he would do against what he actually does. And this is where we are. And I think that is what Zambians need. When we said we're going to reconstruct the economy and drive down the cost of living, we never said it was going to be easy. But we're very clear about where we said inflation should go. 10 months into office, it's at 11%. Isn't that clear enough a direction? We said we're going to improve the performance of the kwacha and stabilize it. We have done that. Isn't that a clear enough direction? So I want to say to Joseph Piri that we should judge the performance of this president on the basis of what he said he would do against what he is actually doing. I think that is the fairest thing to do.
Okay.
This is not a president who promised a volume in terms of a book and say this is the plan that we have and delivers nothing. This is a president who said we're going to reform NAPSA for partial withdrawal. We are delivering that. How much more of a clear direction does citizens need? So this is a president who's motivated by deliverables, he likes to say, because he comes from the background of professional services. Deliverables. What are you actually delivering? It's not good enough for you to say, no, we have the 7th National Development Plan, and then you say all manner of nice things about it, but you're delivering nothing. That is where we're coming from. But this president is different. He's saying, this is what we promised, this is what we're delivering. And I would urge and ask Mr. Joseph Piri to follow through with that. I think I'd be happy if you have a record of his contact. I'd be happy to reach out to him so that we can have an extended conversation around what we said we would do, what we're doing, and what we are yet to do.
Okay.
By the way, Pizzi, go and ask those poor kids at UNZA, over 2,000, who are benefiting from that 65 million kwacha proceeds of crime that was recovered. You go and try to tell them that we have no proper direction insofar as what we want to achieve, where the fight against corruption is concerned and where we want to take the money. You go and try and have that conversation with them, because the president was very clear, the administration remains clear, and we're going to do a whole lot more of things like that.
Under 60 seconds, the last.
Why are you rushing me?
Our time is up.
Why are you rushing me?
Our time is up. You know that we sell time for a living.
We
sell airtime for a living. I have to charge you for every other minute now.
Mr. Chabula is there. No, but look, to the Zambian people, this is a president and an administration that was very clear about what we thought and believed and still believe was the bare minimum for this country, for your families, for your children. And I'm going to repeat and I'm going to reiterate. This is a president that believed that free education for your kids was a bare minimum. This is exactly what he is doing. This is a president who believed that we needed to devolve the balance of community development and how community development is delivered. We needed to bring that closer to the people. This is why we are devolving CDF, and this is why we're ramping that up. This is a call to community leaders to make sure that the money that is being sent to these constituencies serve the purpose that it is intended. This is a president who was keen on mitigating the effects of poverty amongst the underprivileged by increasing the amount of social cash transfer that is paid to the underprivileged, but also making sure that we increase the number of beneficiaries. This is why today more than 1 million people are benefiting from that. And this is also why over 300,000 families are benefiting from food security support. This is a president who believed then and still believe now that corruption is an evil that continues to disadvantage and deprive citizens of the most basic and barest of human rights and dignity. Mm-hmm. And this is why we want to tell them again, make all the noise that you want to make. The law is going to follow you, and the law is going to catch up with you. You will pay back every dime that you took away from this country and its people. And that money is going to go to the most poor in social protection, in education, in public health, and so on and so forth. We are going to resolve the issue of public debt, because it continues to weigh on the ability for this economy to grow. We have the Chinese fully on board and supporting the common framework. We have the IMF on board. We have creditors on board, and we're close to reaching an agreement on that. This is why we're reforming NAPSA, PZ. We promise that we'll do so. We're reforming NAPSA, and we shall make sure that citizens, including you have your partial access to your NAPSA contributions.
I'll ask you to end there, Mr. Bwalya. Our time is totally up.
Can I just thank them then?
We have to end there.
I can thank them at least.
All right.
I can thank the Zambian people again on behalf of the president for continuing to believing that a different Zambia was possible then, still is possible, and will continue to be possible. The president, the new administration, the entire team around him, we are working towards actualizing a new dream for all of us.
Mr. Bwalya, I would like to thank you very much for coming through to the Hot Seat Radio program.
You should be calling me more often.
We will do just that.
Hold you to that.
That's our show for today. We'll be back Thursday with another exciting edition of the Hot Seat Radio program. We were live on Kwitu FM on 93.3 FM in Osaka. In Eastern Province, in Lundazi to be specific, we're live on Kanele FM on 97.7 FM. Also live on 87.7 here in Lusaka and surrounding areas. Live countrywide on DSTV, channel 912 and GoTV, channel 301. Until Thursday, it's goodbye for now.
That was the Hot Seat. Don't forget to join next week at the same time. Exclusive to Hot 87.7.